Alright, what's up everybody? We're back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, I'm going to be reacting to a mock draft. Bleacher Report put out a mock draft just a little while ago, and we're going to talk about it. I haven't made any content surrounding any of the draft or any not rookies, but draftees or college even or anything like that so far this season. I've been so locked into the NBA, but that content is going to start coming out, especially during the end of the year. March Madness is coming up, so I'm going to be talking about March Madness and stuff a lot more, and including that is draft prospects and the draftees that will be coming up this season. So I'm going to be reacting to this mock draft here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, stuff like that. I really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. Link to my Twitter in the description down below. And don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So here we are, we're here. Got Jonathan Wasserman, shout out to him, the 2025 NBA mock draft, full 2-round predictions plus pro comparisons. I'm only going to do the first round here in this one because I feel like the second round, it'll be a very, very, very long video. But I'm just going to do the first round. We're going to react to this draft class, to this mock draft and see what I think about. Now, I'm going to be honest here before we start. I haven't been very, 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 very locked in college basketball. Obviously, I know prospects. I'm not going to be clueless on here in terms of, I've never heard of this guy before. Maybe once or twice, I don't know, we'll see. But especially if they play for, a top team, obviously I'm going to know who they are. And I have watched games and stuff like that and been keeping up, especially the last couple of days. But I can't say I'm a college basketball expert or phenom or anything like that. So don't take my advice, anything, 100% so literally. You know what I mean? Especially right now, But, yeah, so let's get right into it. Starting at number 1, the Detroit Pistons. It's like Alexander Sarr from the Perth Wildcats, 7'1", 216-pound big man from France, 18 years old. Pro comparison is Jaren Jackson Jr. So, little descriptions: the Detroit Pistons will cast a wide net with their pick, regardless of where they land in the lottery. Fit will presumably play a bigger role than normal at number 1, given how little confidence scouts seem to have in identifying the clear best prospect available. That is true. I feel like number 1, number 2, all that has kind of been very up in the air. There's no solidified number 1 in this draft, which is why a lot of people are saying this draft isn't as great or is kind of like a bad draft, quote unquote. Even though I think there's a lot of very solid role players and stuff in this draft, but it's just there's not as much star power, like superstar talent power, as there been the last couple of years where we've been spoiled with guys like Wemby and Brandon Miller last year, and then before we had Paolo, Chet, even Anthony Edwards, LaMelo. Like the last couple of drafts been crazy, and this year we don't have those projected, like this dude's gonna be a superstar type player in this draft, but we still have really good players. That gives Zaccharie Risacher an edge with how easily he's sliding at small forward to shot making, but Detroit may also see more upside with Alexander Sarr's 7'1" size, defensive versatility, athleticism at the rim, and flashes to both shot making and face-up offense. And while the center spot may ultimately be ideal for Sarr long-term, his comfort level around the perimeter suggests he can also play some 4 next to Jalen Duren. Risacher does seem safer, but Sarr, who plays a key role helping the Perth Wildcats reach the NBL semis, has more game-changing potential with his scoring versatility and defensive impact. Yeah, seen some highlights of him, seen some games of him. Definitely, I like Jaren Jackson's comparison. Kind of a bigger 5 that maybe also might turn into a 4 because he's not really strong and big yet. Defensively, blocks a lot of shots, especially comes off weak side. Love defensively, even on the perimeter, he can hold his own defensively and offensively. Very athletic. Go down there. Shot making is really good as well. Obviously, he can make the threes, make some tough fadeaway mid-range jumpers and stuff. So yeah, he's a very interesting prospect. Definitely is a guy that probably, has a key of potential. Probably a guy that I think has a lot of potential, and people could see him and be like, oh shoot, this guy could be in that type of quote unquote maybe unicorn-ish type of level of the big center that can shoot the ball, defend, but also make tough shots, other things like that. So I like the Jaren Jackson Jr. comparison, and ultimately think he probably will end up going number 1 because of the size and the defense and stuff like that. But he's a very interesting prospect. Next to Washington Wizards, we have Zaccharie Risacher. I still don't know if that's how you pronounce his name, to be honest. I feel like I've heard a couple of people say different things. I don't know if I'm saying it wrong. I'm sorry. So yeah, projected number 3. Now he's number 2. 6'8", 204-pound small forward from France again. 18 years old. Pro comparison is Michael Porter Jr. As bad as the Washington Wizards can use a point guard, they'll just be focused on adding the best player available, regardless of position. There's growing comfort level with Zaccharie Risacher at the top of his draft right now, mostly due to his safe combination of 6'8" size, athleticism, defensive tools, and 44.6% 3-point shooting. Potential top picks Nikola Topic, Ryan Holland, and Buzelis have all struggled with their shots. The Wizards could be enticed by the idea of building with explosive two-way shot making wings, an 18-year-old Risacher and 19-year-old McCullar, both of them have flash sides of more shot creation potential. Yeah, I definitely heard of him as a guy. Well, not heard, but seen him as, big shooter. I mean, 6'8", guy 44% from three is very, very tough to pass up on. And yeah, he's not afraid to shoot that ball. Definitely see some confidence in a shot and defensively as well. He could be a very good 3-and-D type player that maybe, again, I like that. They also, if the Wizards do get him and Bilal, both they have defense potential and tools. Risacher is definitely a way, way better of a 3-point shooter, already. Even though Bilal hasn't been bad this year. But yeah, thinking that both of those guys also maybe have the potential, to kind of maybe do a little bit more, maybe could, shot create eventually down the line be good. But yeah, I definitely see why this guy has a high, kind of people like him because, the big shooter with defense potential. Obviously, we wouldn't want that. 3 San Antonio Spurs, Nikola Topic. Previously number 2, he plays in Serbia with this team. Not even going to try to pronounce that team. 6'6", 198-pound point guard. 18 years old. Pro comparison is Shea. That's a great That's a crazy comparison to get. Nikola Topic could check both the best player and fit available for the San Antonio Spurs number 3, while Kentucky's Rob Dillingham could provide more shot making. Topic was the Adriatic League's assist leader before going down. At 6'6", he was far more productive and efficient at getting to and finishing around the basket, 68.1%, than the 6'3" Dillingham, 52.6%. San Antonio could clearly use Topic's ability to create advantages at the point of attack and help set up the team's wing shooters and Victor Wembanyama. Scott's hoping to see the injured point guard play again in the EuroLeague, and an initial 6-week timetable to return suggests he could be back soon. Yeah, Topic is a guy that I understand kind of the Shea comparison in the sense of he's very kind of, he's very efficient at getting to the basket, creates, finishes at a high level. Obviously, the 68.1% is good. He's also not afraid to take threes as well, which is a big thing. Not afraid to shoot the ball and be confident with it. He also can create for other people as well. A very interesting game when you watch him. It's not flashy at all. It's very just basic, to the point, effective. I'm going to go get a bucket, or I'm going to go shoot, or I'm going to go pass. We're not doing anything, super crazy or flashy, not any crazy dribble moves or any crazy explosive finish or anything. But we're just going to come in and we're just going to, do what we got to do to get buckets and get other team buckets. So I really like this for San Antonio. They can get Nikola Topic, point guard, to kind of grow with them. Another European player, so maybe build up some connection with San Antonio Spurs. They love picking their European players, you know what I mean? So yeah, Topic, I wouldn't mind seeing him in San Antonio. I think that's a good move. Next, for Charlotte Hornets, got Ron Holland from the G League Ignite, previously number 5. 6'6", 204-pound small forward, 18 years old. Pro comparison is Cam Whitmore. Since the Charlotte Hornets hitting big on Brandon Miller, they can now complement his shot making with Ron Holland's explosiveness and rim pressure. Once viewed as the number 1 overall favorite, Holland may be on the board outside the top 3, with concerns being raised over his shooting, turnovers, and Ignite's poor record. At 18 years old, he still managed to average 19.5 points in the G League, consistently producing off his open floor speed, burst turning the corner, deep finishing bag, and capable streaky shot making. With LaMelo Ball and Miller, Holland will be able to play more to his strength as a high energy attacking wing as opposed to a high usage creator. That was also a thing I saw. Watch a lot of Ron Holland and stuff. Of course, he's a top prospect because he's got the athleticism, the size. He can get to the rim and stuff. He's not really a scorer or bucket getter type of dude in terms of, on the wing and creating his own shot, having to go get it. Not really amazing at that yet, but he's high energy. High energy, can get to the rim and score as well. Very, very athletic and explosive as well. So yeah, I like that move with Charlotte, especially again. That could bring a good fact they have Brandon Miller now kind of as a guy, LaMelo, and then they can have Ron Holland kind of being another dude, that energy rush, especially if they lose Miles Bridges, another guy that Melo and Ron Holland can have a little connection with, maybe in the open court, and that's athleticism and speed and stuff, and defensively he can be decent as well. But yeah, I like Ron Holland in a situation where he doesn't have to be. I like Ron Holland in a better situation like this, whereas he doesn't have to be, a team like the Wizards where they kind of has to kind of blow up and be a dude that's gonna have the ball in his hands a lot. If he goes to Charlotte, they already have Brandon Miller and LaMelo, so now Ron Holland can just kind of slide in and figure out his own way without having to be the face of the franchise type of dude. So I like that for him. Number 5, the point dribblers is Montas Buzelis, previously number 4 from the G League Ignite, 6'8", 209-pound wing, 19 years old. Pro comparison is Franz Wagner. with Ron out for the season, which is another thing also to add on to the Ron thing. He's out for the rest of the season. So how's that injury going to affect his future? Buzelis has been more aggressive and now has 20-point games in 2 of Ignite's last 3. It's a notable development considering scouts have been somewhat critical of his passivity and uninspiring production. While scouts still sound hesitant about projecting him as a lead option in offense, Buzelis' scoring versatility for a 6'8 wing remains a draw regardless. 3-point range, the ability to attack in space, 2-point shot making, and athleticism at the rim should allow teams to use Buzelis in different positions, spots on the floor, and situations. Definitely, I mean, he was a top high school guy, went to the G League Ignite. I think he had an injury early on in the year, which is why he kind of slowly came on to the Ignite. Saw him at the All-Star weekend. He hit the big shots to kind of win the game. Very, very interesting game. Again, he's 6'8", long, lengthy, still very young. Definitely, I like the Franz Wagner comparison a lot for him as well. A guy that's not going to do too much. A guy that, kind of can get in where he fits in, Not a guy that's going to hold on to the ball a whole lot. Not a guy that's going to be number 1 maybe. But if you have him as a number 2 and number 3 and stuff like that, he can come in and contribute a whole lot of ways and be a really good player. So I really like the Franz Wagner comparison. I think Buzelis is going to be a solid player. I think the Franz Wagner track should be where he could be on. Especially what team he's going to. Blazers, maybe. Maybe I would like to see him maybe on a team like Memphis if they do get a pick. Or maybe even Charlotte. I like that pick for them as well. Getting Montas Buzelis because getting good basketball players over there. I'd like to see that. But yeah, I think Montas Buzelis is going to be solid. In Portland, I don't think that's a bad pick at all. Especially getting a wing player. Maybe they can get a bigger guy. Portland could, but right now Portland's just worried about getting talent at this point, I feel like. 6 Memphis Grizzlies, Cody Williams from Colorado. 6'8", 190-pound, small forward, 19 years old. Pro comparison is Jaden McDaniels. If you don't know, he's the younger brother of J-Dub, Jalen Williams from OKC. So the lost season for the Memphis Grizzlies could allow them to add a key piece like Cody Williams. It would be an ideal landing spot for the 6'8 wing who's more of a complementary scoring passer. While Williams doesn't create offense at a high level, he finishes at 1 as a transition weapon, driver, cutter, and spot-up shooter. With high-end role player projections from scouts, he's starting to draw comparisons to 3-and-D wings like Jaden McDaniels. Yeah, I think Cody Williams is a really good player. Cody Williams is really good, long, 6'8", 190, lengthy, kind of similar to J-Dub. I think he's a little bigger than J-Dub. I think J-Dub's only like 6'6", but J-Dub is really strong. Cody Williams doesn't have that yet, but he's still 19 years old, so he has that time. And yeah, I think he's going to be a really good role player, kind of similar to like Jalen Williams does. Comes in and just fits a role and does what he has to do. Jalen Williams, of course, now maybe has a little bit more of a high potential, and now Jalen Williams is starting to become a little bit more than that. But Cody Williams definitely come in and fit a team. If he does go to Memphis or a team like that, I feel like any team he'll go to could be a guy that could come in and automatically fit in and play well. I think he's going to be a good player for a long time in this league. So I really like Cody Williams in this draft, and I definitely think whatever team he's one of those guys I feel that wherever he ends up with, wherever team he ends up with, I feel like he'll figure out a way for me. 7, San Antonio Spurs via Raptors. You have Rob Dillingham from Kentucky, 6'3", 176-pound guard. 18 years old. Pro comparison is Lou Williams. Says, with the Raptors now 2 games ahead of the Memphis Grizzlies, Toronto could be in jeopardy of losing its pick. Top 6 protected the Spurs. That's right, because of the Jakob Poeltl trade. That allow the Spurs to add a second starting caliber player in the lottery. In this case, Rob Dillingham. If teams like the Charlotte Hornets, Portland Trailblazers, and Memphis Grizzlies opt for wings, Dillingham continues to impress with both his shooting consistency and ability to generate his own offense, converting 43.8% of his pull-ups and an outstanding 16 of 31 runners. He's shown scouts his ability to self-create and bury defenses in ball screen and one-on-one situations. DJ Wagner and Sheppard have cut into his playmaking opportunities, but the ability to take over games as a scorer and play off with the ball with his 47.1% spot-up shooting has eased concern over his total fit defense right now has been scouts' biggest criticism. Yeah. Rob Dillingham, he's a fan favorite. I feel like he will be a fan favorite of the draft, especially when it gets down to March Madness and stuff, and we get more into looking at the draft. I feel like a lot of people, this is going to be the guy that people are going to be like, oh man, Rob Dillingham. You've already seen it. You've seen clips on Twitter. Definitely a very fun player. Definitely, a guy that if you haven't watched him, go watch him because he is very fun to watch. Lou Williams is a great comparison. Definitely has that kind of park type spunk, kind of just shiftiness, creativity, that fun. Like you see him on the court, you're like, oh shoot, like this dude, oh man, it's gonna be a tough day guarding him, type of stuff. And he plays in Kentucky with a lot of guards. He comes off the bench, but John Calipari has kind of allowed him to find his own role. And since he doesn't have the ball too much, but also he's effective. Again, he's been used a lot off screen, off ball, where he's shooting the ball pretty well. Runners, of course. He had a really good game against, who was that? Was it against LSU they had last week? Where he hit the big shot. He had a big second half. They had a big shot. But then the other dude came down and hit the game winner. I forgot what team it was because I watched that game. And yeah, really impressed with Rob Dillingham. I think he's a really good player. San Antonio, maybe. I don't know. Maybe if they draft Topic, I don't know. But I think Rob Dillingham's a guy that it's going to be interesting to see how he fits in the league. I'm very, very interested to see how he fits in the league. Because I feel like there's a role for him. It's just how, because there's roles for players like him in the league. You know, kind of like that kind of microwave type of guard. But if he can't play off the ball, you know, if he can't play off the ball and be a catch-and-shoot guy sometimes and not have the ball in his hands all the time to go create, that's going to do wonders for him. Right now, again, defense is a big thing because he is small, only 176 pounds, 6'3", and usually players in his archetype aren't really defensive guys, which is what kind of stops them from being kind of the great players that we think they're going to be, even though they're fun. But I definitely do think there's a spot for Rob Dillingham in the league, especially if he can play off ball more than what he's doing at Kentucky. At 8, Houston Rockets via Nets, Reed Sheppard, another Kentucky guy. 6'3", 187-pound shooting guard. From 19 years old, pro comparison is Dante DiVincenzo. A down year for Jalen Green can make the Houston Rockets think differently about their two-guard depth. Reed Sheppard will give their backcourt a different feel with his ultra-efficient shooting and passing IQ. He'll be a strong off-ball fit with his lights-out stroke and ball moving, though the flashes of ball screen diving and pull-ups hit at another level of scoring outside the Kentucky's deep rotation may be masking. Yeah, Reed Sheppard, again, if you haven't watched him, he's a guy that Dante DiVincenzo, that role is really good. I think he's another dude, kind of similar to what I said about Cody Williams, where I feel like wherever Reed Sheppard goes, he's going to fit and find a role for himself. He's just one of those type of players. A dude that can do a lot of different things. He doesn't really need the ball in his hands to do things. He can spot up and shoot. He can be a passer. He can play make. He can get to the rim in his own. Defensively, he's not bad either. He had a really good game, I think, yesterday. I think he had his best game. I think he had like 30. And did he have 30 or like 24 or something like that? He had a really good game last night. I was watching it this morning. I was like, dang, he balled. But yeah, Reed Sheppard's a guy. He's really good. I think he's one of those guys where, again, wherever he goes, I feel like he's going to come in and fit a role. I love his game. I love the Dante DiVincenzo type of comparison where he's a guy that's just going to come in and compliment, fit a role. He's one of those dudes that is going to come in, play a role, probably going to be a fan favorite type of dude, and you're going to be like, dang, it's going to be tough to kind of keep him off the court, because he does so many good things. 9, Oklahoma City Thunder via Rockets, Kyle Filipowski from Duke. 7 foot, 248-pound big man. Pro comparison is Santi Aldama, 20 years old. Adding Kyle Filipowski will give the Oklahoma City Thunder the option to play bigger up front. He's best suited as a stretch 4, given his shooting range and ability to slide defensively around the perimeter, but the 7-footer could also serve as Chet Holmgren's backup as he's blocking more shots this year and using his frame and strength more effectively around the basket. Passing may have actually become his most advantageous positional skill, something else for the Thunder to think about even if they are considered shopping Josh Giddey. Yeah, Kyle Filipowski's a guy. Thought maybe he was going to declare last year, but he comes back to Duke, and he's been better this year. Definitely a 4 that can do a lot of different things. He's definitely shooting the ball a lot more, which I think stretch 4 is probably what he's going to turn into in the league. Even though he is a 7-footer, can block shots. He's not an elite shot blocker, and he's not a crazy scorer inside. So I feel like definitely he'll be more of a stretch 4 type of dude. But it's true, he definitely can pass the ball. Definitely is a guy that knows how to pass the ball, can make plays, isn't just going to stand and stretch and spot up. He can make plays for others and stuff like that. So it's very interesting to see. I think he's a very interesting guy in terms of the draft prospect. Like, I could see him going high, but I could also see him being a guy maybe dropping a little bit, maybe being like a 13th, 14th overall pick or 15 or maybe even lower. But I could also see him being in maybe 9 or 10 because I don't really know. I don't really know where to gauge Kyle Filipowski in terms of what he's going to fit in the NBA, honestly, yet. I probably have to watch more of him to see where I really, figure how he's going to fare, how he's really going to adjust to the league. But I do think he's definitely got talented enough where, like he's going to be a first-round pick, absolutely, Number 10, Atlanta Hawks, Johnny Furphy. I think that's how you pronounce it, right? Furphy? Is that how you pronounce it? I think that's how you pronounce it. He's a guy that just recently came on the scene not that long ago. Draft spot previously number 11. He jumps up. 6'9", 202-pound small forward out of Kansas. Australian as well, 19 years old. Pro comparison is Trey Murphy. There's Johnny Furphy. I think I said Murphy. Johnny. We'll call him Johnny. Johnny scored 16 points on 3 field goal attempts versus Texas, a tribute to the effectiveness of his simple combination of shot making and athleticism. On season, he's at 39.4% from deep and converting 80.4% of his ring attempts. His 6'9" size, spot up shooting, play finishing, and motor could create an easy off-ball fit at the next level. Brief flashes of all-ball screen slashing and pull-ups and has some more scoring potential to lock down the road. Yeah, it's a dude that kind of recently came on, not that too long ago, and it's like, whoa, this dude is actually, shooter. Again, guy that can shoot the ball well, Off ball, plays a big off ball role at Kansas. Got 6'9" and can shoot like that. Size, but also can get to the rim and finish as well. Not just standing behind the 3-point line. Definitely think he's a dude that's going to be a guy that's probably maybe even going to rise up a little bit more. Potentially, maybe if we get closer to draft day. And I won't be surprised if he's a guy that maybe a team a little bit higher than 10 kind of takes a shot at. Maybe. But I could also see him maybe being a guy that drops a little bit and then a team picks him up and we're like, dang. How do we let Johnny fall this far? So I can see both sides happening right now. I think he still has to play a little more games to really show who he actually is, but I think he's going to be good, especially with the off ball. He's already playing an off ball role, so I think going right to the NBA, I think that would be great for him. 11, Oklahoma City Thunder via Jazz, Devin Carter from Providence, 6'3", 195-pound guard. 21 years old, pro comparison is Brandon Pajemski. Devin Carter could sway the Oklahoma City Thunder to forget about needs at number 11. Always known for his signature defensive pressure and tough rebounding, he's gradually evolved into an explosive shot maker with the type of confidence and range that could translate to streak shooting and take over scoring. Thunder typically declare about positions, and they wouldn't with Carter, who could defend both backcourt spots, spot up, or be used to make in ball screen situations. I don't know about how much I like that for OKC, considering how many guards they have, and they just took Cason Wallace last year, who also is a really good defender and spot up shooter. Do little things. So I don't know about the fit in OKC, but Devin Carter's solid. He's a player that does a little bit of everything as a guard. He kind of does remind me of that Cason Wallace type of just point guard that can do a little bit of everything. Knows how to play a role. Defensively he's good. Makes good passes, makes the right plays. Type of dude, type of point guard I can see definitely being around for a while, being in the NBA and being a guy for a long time, always having a job just because he can do a lot of solid things. I like that he plays his own pace as well. He's not a guy that's going to blow you away with speed, not very athletic or crazy, but just high IQ, knows how to play, even though he is a little bit a slower pace. He can do a lot of different things. The shot is interesting. It's kind of a different, little slower of a shot, so I don't know how well that's going to, translate to the league. But at the very least, he's going to be a guy that's high IQ, can do a little bit of everything at the guard position. I really like that. 12, Chicago Bulls, Jacoby Walter from Baylor. 6'5", 195-pound, 2-guard, 19 years old, pro comparison is Moses Moody. This is averaging 14.8 points. Jacoby Walters relied on 3-point shooting and trips to the free throw line. He's a confident shot maker who's a threat to attack his straight lines and draw contact. He's also down to just 38.8% from the floor, while averaging 1.5 assists in 31.3 minutes. A lot will be riding on his jump shot and execution in the lane, though he clearly has the stroke and tools to excel in that spot-up heavy role. Yeah, Walters, he's a guy that shooter. He can shoot the ball. Definitely more of, you have like scorers that also can be shooters. He's more of a shooter that also can score. Definitely takes a lot more than 3-ball. A lot more. That ball also has a little bit of potential that he could maybe be something a little bit more into maybe being a little more of a scorer, potentially. But his shooting is good defensively as well. He can hold his own. Really solid 3-and-D player. I like this for the Bulls. I feel like it's kind of like a shot of like, at the very least, going to be a shooter. But also maybe he could develop into something more for our future. So I like this if the Bulls do pick him up. But yeah, very interesting to see how Jacoby Walter, how the other stuff can fit. Is he just going to be a shooter in the league, or can he kind of be into something more? Because if he could be something more, then a team maybe just stumble across a gem right there. 13, Portland Trailblazers via Warriors. Tyler Smith from the G League Ignite. 6'11", 224-pound power forward. 19 years old. Pro comparison is Channing Frye. He's the only member of G League Ignite to clearly improve his stock. Because, last time he was 21, jumps up in the lottery now. Tyler Smith has made a strong pressure on scouts with his consistent shooting, believable touch, and finishing tools. Without questions about whether he can threaten defense, stuff the dribble, or how well he'll guard around the perimeter, there's a clear role for a 6'11" big who can stretch the floor, rise and fire inside the arc, and pick up easy buckets at the rim. Yeah, he's definitely shooting, stretch 4 type of dude, solid jump shot. I like the Channing Frye comparison. Bigger guy that can shoot threes, but also maybe can get to the rim and do stuff. Yeah, defensively, I don't know where he's really going to fit in. If he can get better at that, then he's going to be a great player. Teams are going to love to have him on the court. But at least he's going to be just a stretch 4. Stretch 4, maybe even 5, big man. So why not have a lot of teams go after him in Portland? That would be a great get for them to fill out that 4 position. 14, New Orleans Pelicans via Lakers. Killel Ware from Indiana jumps from 23 to 14. 7 foot, 242-pound big. 19 years old. Pro comparison is Jared Allen. I think he just had a big game yesterday, the day before, I think. He had 27 and 13. He had a big game. Indiana losses have overshadowed Kilo Ware's strong play lately, as he's been consistent enough individually to avoid criticism for the team's lousy conference record, averaging 15 points, 9.4 boards, and 1.7 blocks on 13 of 31 from 3. He'll be on first-round boards for the pre-draft prospect process, when he should be able to rise even further with workout settings that will eliminate his excellent tools, athletic abilities, and shot-making touch. Yeah, definitely very athletic 7-footer, athletic big man, block shots, really good level, and yeah, good, touch around the rim as well. Jared Allen comparison is solid, because I think at the very least he's going to be a guy that can, block shots and dunk, which if he can do that, you're going to be in the league for a while. But then if he can develop that three-point shot and be a consistent guy that also has a little touch, because I also like the Jared Allen comparison too, because Jared Allen isn't just a dunker and a block shot. Like, Jared Allen has a little bit of touch as well around the rim. It can make that little mid-range pull-up jumper and stuff. Collier could do that, and maybe even more athletic and even younger. So I like that. It's going to be interesting to see how Collier, because he's been a guy that's kind of, I feel like, moves around draft boards a lot, kind of is up, then down, then up, then down. So definitely waiting to see how consistent he can be, moving forward in the future. Orlando Magic, you have Missi. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not very 100% sure. From Baylor, 7 foot, 235-pound big man, 19 years old. Pro career is Mark Williams. Is lacking depth and upside at center. The Orlando Magic could target Messi for his athleticism and tools around the basket at both ends. Most of his damage is done as a finisher and rim protector. There have been enough flashes to face up drives and layups on the move. The point of him is becoming a more threatening scorer away from the basket. Yeah, big center. I like the Mark Williams comparison. Kind of a dude that's going to score around the rim and block shots and be just a force, just a presence down there at the big position. And that's what Missi is at Baylor. Yeah, definitely a presence inside. Would like to see him develop a little more touch around there. And there's definitely some times he gets offensive boards and stuff and he misses put back layups and stuff like that. But, he's still big presence down there, athletic, and he's going to be looked at, especially maybe as a backup big that could just block shots, and dunk. If you can do that well, as a big, you can be in the league for a while. 16 Toronto Raptors via pace. You have Terrence Shannon Jr. from Illinois. Moves over 14 to 16. 6'6", 225-pound wing. 23 years old. Pro career is Kelly Oubre. Scoring at least 25 points in 4 or 6 games this month. Terrence Shannon Jr. continues to put pressure on defenses with open floor speed. Quick first step of shot making. He moves different. Shannon's handle bursts at 6'6" frame are consistently creating advantages in transition, off-ball screens, and one-on-one in space. On and off shooting over the years can signal more of a streaky score at the next level. Regardless, Shannon's draft stock will be fully tied to his mate 10th hearing. I heard about that and I was like, oh man. So that right there is gonna be a very big determination of his draft stock and what happens. But yeah, Terrence Shannon Jr. is an older guy, 23 years old. I remember he's been in college for a while. I think he was at Texas Tech. I think he's been at a couple different schools. Now he's in Illinois. Definitely streaky. He has the ability, I feel like, to be a really, really good player in the league. Definitely, he's got the ball handling ability. He's got the speed, athleticism, all this stuff. It's just, streaky. That's what he's just a streaky scorer. He's on and off. So we're going to see how that really contributes and progresses to the next level of the NBA. And I'm interested to see where his draft stock out of it is, because I feel like he was high and then he kind of fell off the draft board. He's been at second round. This is the highest I've seen him in a very, very, very long time. So we'll see how Terrence Shannon moves. But of course, that thing right there that he's got is going to be very tied in. 17 Miami, Dunn Knecht, I think it's like Knecht or something like that. 6'6", 24-pound, small forward from Tennessee. 20 years old. Pro comparison is Max Strus. Says NBA teams will feel like they know what they're getting in Dalton. The hit record for prospects drafted at age 23 isn't great, but Tennessee's breakout wing should entice the team in the teens or 20s, interested in adding an instant shot maker on a rookie contract. Next, up to 40% on 5.5 3-point attempts, and he possesses the size, shooting versatility, and confidence to continue knocking down jumpers from on and off the ball. Kind of a guy that came up, early in the year. He kind of burst onto the scene, older guy, veteran. I like this pick, especially for a team like Miami that can use a lot more, spacing and shooting on the ball. Guy that can shoot the ball, 6'8", or 6'6", sorry, I thought he was 6'8". 6'6", 40% three-point shooting, and, he's showing some confidence that he can be on the ball as well, could score from there, so maybe not just a shooter, who knows, but as long as he keeps that shooting up, I think he's going to be a valuable piece, especially as a upperclassman guy that's been around, has more experience, especially on a good team like Tennessee. So yeah, I like this for Miami if they do pick him up. 18, Philadelphia 76ers, Isaiah Collier from USC, 6'5", 210-pound point guard, 19 years old. Pro comparison is Tyreek Evans. His team, Collier has lacked a shooting range and high turnover rate. Scouts are having a difficult time picturing a starting NBA point guard early on. That's why he may fall out of the lottery, particularly with most teams already invested in an elite ball handler. The bench spark role may ultimately be ideal for Collier's speed and creativity. Unless his shot and decision-making improve, he had the most value with his rim pressure and playmaking. Yeah, he's a guy that early on in the year was projected like top 5, I want to say, even a top pick. And then add on that USC hasn't been great, and I feel like every mock draft I've seen him fall and fall and fall and fall. Now he's down to 18, about mid-first round pick. But yeah, he still is athletic. He's got good size, being a 6'5" point guard, good ball handling ability, can get to the rim. It's just the little other things, not a great shooter right now, and yes, he has been turning the ball over a lot. So yeah, that's why he's kind of fallen. But I think he still has some value. Obviously, being a guy that can get to the rim, athletic point guard that also playmaking is very solid, even though he does turn the ball over a lot. Maybe in a lesser role, like coming off the bench and stuff, that turnover rate can kind of be down and fixed. And so we'll see what happens. But yeah, he's a guy that's very polarizing. I'm very interested to see where he does go in the draft because, again, he was such a high prospect. And now that he's been falling, and want to see like maybe a team up here, like maybe a team like Toronto at some point, or maybe a team like, Orlando says, you know what, he was a top high school guy, why don't we just take him because he has the potential. I definitely could see that. Or maybe a team even higher. Who knows? Maybe a team like, the Bulls or something says, you know what, we'll take him. I'm interested to see, or does he even fall a little bit more? Who knows? We got to see how it plays out. 19, Atlanta Hawks via Kings, Jalen Tyson from California, 6'7", 215-pound forward, 821. Doesn't have a comparison for him. So Jalen Tyson continued his breakout season over the weekend with 27 points against Oregon. He's become one of the draft's most advanced on-ball forwards with handles and footwork for self-creation into drives, jumpers, and floaters. Tyson's shot making off his own dribble and post moves have powered his scoring production. He just hasn't been as efficient off the ball, and some teams may question how he'll adjust and fit after this year's 30.3 usage percentage. Yeah, Tyson, it's kind of like a, classic thing of like the guy really good, but he goes to a smaller school where he has the ball a lot. So it's like, how does that really translate to the league? It's just because he plays with nobody, so he gets a lot of touches and stuff. But like also I seen watching some in California. It's not like he has the ball ISO in every play. They do run a lot of sets. He does come off a lot of comes off screen and like dribble, gets little floaters and gets to the rim, layups and stuff like that. So yeah, but definitely a guy that I'm interested to see how he really fits in to the league and how he goes, like what translates, what doesn't, how it goes the rest of the season. Definitely also a guy that I want to watch more film on. I want to see a little bit more because he does play at California, which is not a big time school right now. So definitely got to watch a lot more film on him. But early impressions, yeah, definitely good. Definitely got size and stuff. Just want to see how it translates and how it keeps going. At 20, New York Knicks via Mavericks, Jared McCain from Duke, 6'3", 197-pound two guard. 19 years old. So his team's looking to add more shot makers, so have Jared McCain highlighted as he's up to 41.1% on 5.6 3-point attempts. He's also shown he can add some creation and scoring value with a crafty handle and finishing package of layups and floaters. He has been hot recently. He had a 35-point game recently, which set the Duke freshman record. Definitely could score. Definitely a guy that could score, could shoot the ball, on a very good clip. 41% on over 5'3". That's really, really good. He's also shown a little bit of creating ability in terms of getting to the rim, layups and stuff like that. But yeah, he's a guy that interested to see. I think he's going to be a fan favorite of a lot of people, especially later at this range of the draft. I think he's going to be a really good pick for any team in this draft. I think the Knicks, that'd be good. Just another guy that could just shoot the ball. Another guy that could just come in, fit right away, and shoot it. So I like that. 21 New Orleans Pelicans have Ulrich Kamchi. I don't think I've heard his name. Did I hear his name get pronounced before? I can't even remember. But yeah, UC. We'll call him UC. From the Anime Academy in Africa. 6'11", 225-pound big man. 18 years old. So UC will be one of the big draws at April's Nike Hoop Summit, and his performance there could dictate whether he's bound for the 2024 first round or college in 2024-25. He generates significant buzz at the NBA Academy games during G League Showcase Week, popping easily with size, length, rim protection, shooting range, and brief ball handling and passing flashes. Even if teams deem UC a multi-year project, certain front office may be too tempted in a draft where it's difficult to detect upside after the first few picks. Definitely a player that I feel like is kind of like one of the hidden guys in the draft. Like there's not that much tape or not that much we talked about him, but watching him, like a little highlights, stuff like that, like he's definitely got size. I mean, 18 years old, 6'11", 225. It's not he's a skinny 225. He's a kind of built 225. The jump shot looks decent as well. It looks like a decent jump shot. He's got length. He blocks shots really well as well. So he's got some things, some tools. Obviously, he definitely does look like a project type player. He's not definitely looks like a guy that probably you're gonna have to wait a year or two, especially with him being so young, 18 years old. Won't be surprised maybe he does go to college next year and kind of get better because he does play for NBA Academy Africa. So we don't really get too much, to see. But he maybe could be a guy that could be maybe a drafted stash for a year, maybe a dude that can as a project type player that maybe in a couple years could be something at a big man position. 22 Phoenix Suns got Donovan Clingan, my guy from Connecticut, 7'2", 280-pound big, 19 years old, pro comparison from Jakob Poeltl. Despite no exciting signs of offensive development for Donovan Clingan, he'll have first-round shooters interested in his physicality and rim protection. He can give the front court or second unit a different feel. There's not many teams who have backup bigs that can match up against his unique combination of power, soft hands, and instincts around the basket. Yes, he's a big center, very big center. Kind of getting a bigger role this year with Thomas Sanogo going off. And he's been good. UConn's been one of the best teams, if not maybe the best team in the country. Even though they dropped to number 3. But yeah, he's a big body center. Big body center that can, rebound the ball, block shots, and dunk. And he's got a decent touch as well around the rim. So yeah, any team could use a guy like him. And it's fun. I like that for Phoenix, especially with Nurkic being older. If they can draft him and keep him kind of as a backup, big man, that would be big for them. 23 New York Knicks have Stephon Castle from UConn as well. 6'6", 215-pound two-guard. 19 years old. So Stephon Castle's draft range sounds wide right now with opinions varying on a scouting report that knows excellent physical tools, point ring playmaking ability, strong defense, and limited quickness, creation, and shooting range. He could earn consideration from lottery teams willing to bet on and stay patient with a 6'6" ball handler who scores through contact, passes, and defends. He could also slip into the 20s if enough teams remain concerned by a shaky jumper and reliance on physicality. He has a dude that I think he was a top high school guy, came to UConn. I think he was injured early in the year as well, which is why he kind of came on a little bit slow. And yeah, he's kind of been in the starting lineup, out of the lineup, kind of trying to figure his way out. I think he still has a lot of talent. Being a guy, a big ball handler that can play the 1 and the 2. Again, physical tools. He's got the athleticism and all that stuff. And defensively he can be his own. It's just about the other stuff. Like, can he create for himself? Can he be a catch-and-shoot type of dude? Like, how much is it? So I think he's definitely kind of like similar to Isaiah Collier. I feel like he'll be like just one of those guys that his range kind of widens in a sense where, yeah, he definitely is like, it's either going to be, I could see a team in like the 12 or 13, like going up. I could see a team maybe like the Hawks or maybe like even like the Sixers, even like I could see the Raptors even maybe taking a chance just because he's a dude that's like, all right, he's got potential, he's got a chance, maybe even more like the Sixers or something like that, or even is a team even higher that I could see maybe. Does Portland, just Chicago, maybe? Like, that I could see, because he had a big name and stuff, he's one of those guys who are, like, early on, like, teams would take him early just because it's like, he has potential, he's got a big wing, we'll see, but I can also see him dropping and being a guy that's like, dang, at this point, at 28, 29, maybe we should take him because he's one of the better prospects left in size. So, we're definitely, and, talent-wise, so we'll definitely see how, I think he's a very interesting prospect in terms of where he can go. He's one of those guys, definitely, that has a higher kind of wider range. 24 Milwaukee Bucks, Dylan Jones from Weber State. Shout out Dame. Gets a Weber State buddy in there. 6'6", 235-pound wing, 22 years old. Pro comparison is David Roddy. There's no player in the season has ever registered Dylan Jones counting stats of at least 20 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. He's looking more convincing for an NBA on-ball role with how effective he's creating, passing, and shot making off the dribble. There would be more support for Jones if he's making more catch-and-shoot threes. Yeah, Dylan Jones, for me, he's another very, interesting prospect to see where he goes, what other teams think of him, because he is very he's very versatile and very interesting. I like the David Roddy comparison because it's kind of similar to when David Roddy was coming out of Colorado State, where he's a dude, he went to a smaller school, kind of the ball in his hands a lot more, body size is kind of different. He's a bigger body dude, but also he has good ball handling skills, gets to the rim, tough defensively, doesn't shoot the 3-ball a whole lot, but can make it. He's got a weird kind of, I don't know, it's a very interesting game, and it's interesting to see how he's gonna fit into the league, because he does have a very versatile skill set, but he's also 6'6", 235, and he's not gonna have the ball in his hands a lot, more so what can he do really with the ball not in his hands and how effective can he really be like that. But I still think there's a role for him as being kind of a glue guy, kind of being a forward, that can catch a shoe, get ball handler if you need him to, make right plays and stuff like that, kind of those type of role players. But he's another very, very interesting prospect to me to see what teams think of him, where he could fit. 25 Washington Wizards via Clippers. You have, oh man, I forgot how to pronounce his name. Is it Tijan Salaun? I completely don't remember how to pronounce his name. I feel like I've heard it before. But yeah. Moving up to 26-25 from France, another Frenchman, 6'8", 212-pound power forward, 18 years old. Comparison is Obi Toppin. His age, production, size, athleticism, and shot making are behind the Tijan. We call him TS. Call him Ty. Love. He's still not advancing in any area, but he shoots with admirable confidence for a 6'8", 18-year-old between LNB, Pro A, and basketball championship leagues. He's made 49 threes in 34 games and 78.9% of his free throws. Low assists, rebounding, and defensive playmaking rates point to limited margin for error with his shot development. Yeah, watching him a little bit here and there. Big shooter. Another one. I feel like that's a kind of a thing in this draft. A lot of these got a lot of big shooters. 6'8" guy, shoot the ball well, high release point as well. So definitely won't get a shot blocked a whole lot. So yeah, definitely confident too. Confident in shooting the ball. Not afraid to get to the mid-range a little bit here and there as well. But yeah, he's definitely a guy that probably could be a little bit of a project as well because he doesn't really do a lot much more. Like, he does try to dribble the ball, he does try to make some passes and stuff like that, but he's not a dude that's like, like we can count on him also being a playmaker or anything like that. So definitely, I could definitely understand the kind of hesitation in putting him high because he doesn't really have a lot much else to provide so far yet. But he has potential in terms of, his athleticism, his size, athleticism, being so young. You know what I mean? Next, 26, Cleveland Cavaliers, Kevin McCullar Jr. I would love this pick. 6'7", 214-pound wing, 22 years old, from Kansas. Comparison is Bruce Brown. It says, knee soreness continues to cost Kevin McCullar Jr. games. It shouldn't impact his draft stock as long as his pre-draft medical checks out clean. Until now, he's made a strong first-round case with off-ball scoring, production, and defense tools at power for years. He's been less efficient creating for himself or handling in ball screen situations. McCullar has been very efficient as a catch and shooter, 40.4%. Generating transition offense, running off screens, cutting, and finding open teammates. This is a guy that I think... Yeah, I like this guy a lot. I like Kevin McCullar Jr. a lot. Upperclassman. I think, where is he before Kansas? I think he was with a team before Kansas. Was he with, Texas Tech or something? I can't really remember off the top of my head, I think. But I like him a lot. I like the Bruce Brown. He's going to be a dude that... I like the Bruce Brown. He's going to be a Bruce Brown, one of those type of players. Where he's a dude that's going to go to a play, might be lower, might be taken a little bit lower than people expect him. The Cavs, that's why I feel the Cavs would be a great pick. Any team, Cavs would be a good pick for him. The Bucks would be a good pick for him. The Knicks would be a good team. Any of these playoff teams would be huge. Denver, the next pick. Whoever if he lands in one of those teams, is going to be such a steal because he's a dude that already is in a winning situation in Kansas. A guy that, again, knows how to play a role. Doesn't need to be on the bar, isn't a bucket getter or anything like that. Knows how to come off, knows how to play a role in terms of, catch and shoot guy. But also, I like the Bruce Brown as well because he also isn't just catch and shoot, isn't just doing that. He can also handle the ball a little bit. Defensively, he's also kind of versatile at 6'7" with very long arms as well. I really like Kevin McCullar. He's one of my favorite guys that aren't the top. He's one of my favorite, well, honestly, even period overall, he's one of my favorite dudes in this draft. And I feel like he's got wherever he goes, he's going to find a role because that's what players like him do. But especially if he ends up on a playoff team like a Cavaliers, he'll be so valuable already. 27 Denver Nuggets, Hunter Sallis from Wake Forest. 6'5", 185-pound two-guard, 20 years old. Pro comparison is Malachi Branham. Since Hunter Sallis' first-round case looked even stronger after he led Wake Forest to a win over Duke with 29 points. That was a big upset or big game. Missing just twice all game. Put on a scoring clinic highlighted by self-creation and tough shot making from 3 levels. Looked like too sharp of a ball screen isolation weapon and spot up and pull-up shooter for the lack of playmaking to feel worrisome. Yeah, he's... probably gonna be another one of those guys that, especially when we come down to later during draft stuff, he's gonna be another guy that's a fan favorite, especially late at this point. Bucket getter, smooth bucket getter. He definitely needs to get a little stronger. I mean, he's only 185, but again, he's only 20 years old. Gets to the mid range very well. Not afraid to get to the mid range and scoring. Can definitely create his own as well. Tough shot maker. I like that a lot. Again, definitely needs to put on a little more weight in. Definitely also the playmaking is not there yet. Now does kind of have a one-track mind in terms of trying to go get his own bucket, but I feel like at this point he's a guy that a lot of teams should take a chance on because he's a dude that I think could pop off. I mean he's got a lot of the scoring, especially from 3 levels. Get to the rim and likes to do that little get to the rim, little like around the free throw line, not around the free throw line, but around like the paint jump shot. The mid range is tough as well. 3-point shooting is solid, is decent as well. Good ball handler, like is very smooth as well. Smooth scorer. I like that. So Denver maybe getting that, maybe help off their bench. I like that. 28 Minnesota Timberwolves Tristan da Silva from Colorado, 6'9", 220-pound forward, 22 years old. Pro comparison is Kyle Kuzma. So steady shooting and passing flashes have kept Tristan da Silva's name in the fringe first-round discussion. While his offensive repertoire remains relatively unchanged since last season, the combination of 6'9" size, shooting accuracy, versatility, a high overall skill level, and good decision-making continue to help da Silva look like an NBA stretch 4 fit. Yes. I think Tristan da Silva is a guy that's probably going to – I'm not going to be surprised if Tristan da Silva is a dude where right now he's kind of around this range, but once we get more into the draft prospects, he shoots up boards. And maybe goes a little bit higher. If he goes maybe like 20 or maybe even in like the 19, 18 area. I won't be surprised if that's what he kind of turns into. Because I think Tristan Silva is a good player. Again, I like that. He is a very highly skilled, player at the 4 position. Can shoot the ball very well. Very good shooter. I like the Kyle Kuzma comparison, especially when he first comes in. Because he's a dude that, maybe went to a smaller school, not very much, used in a lot of different ways and stuff like that. Once he makes it to the NBA, though, he kind of finds his role. Especially with being really skilled. Can pass the ball well, can shoot the ball well, at the 4 spot. Like, I think he's a dude. I like Tristan da Silva. I definitely think he's a dude that once we get more into the draft prospects and before the draft starts, he definitely maybe will shoot up a lot of people's board, 29 Utah Jazz via Thunder, Ryan Dunn from Virginia, 6'8", 216-pound forward, 20 years old. Pro comparison is Matisse Thybulle. Just with Ryan Dunn averaging just 4 points over Virginia's last 8 games, going first round will require very specific roster and fit. His athletic abilities and defense potential may be special enough to get him to rotation minutes without any shot creating or shooting skills. Yes. Matisse Thybulle, that's a good comparison. He's a dude that defense, he's got it. Locked in defensively. Athletic, very athletic. Defensively, he can pop. Offensively, though, just doesn't really have much right now in the offensive tool bag, which is why I definitely do believe it will be a team that will have to take a chance on him. Maybe a team like Minnesota. Or maybe a team like Denver. I won't be surprised maybe like a, playoff team maybe more takes a chance on him, the young guy, because he's a guy that come in, play defense right away, but also doesn't have to contribute much already. Especially if you're already at this point, like 26, 27 at this point. So you're not really expecting a starter or some player, just expecting someone to come in and maybe could give you something. So I would like if maybe at this point a playoff team already, like a Minnesota or something like that, takes a chance on a Ryan Dunn, because defensively he's really good. He can make something defensively, and he has that athletic ability to maybe become something. It's just he doesn't really have any offensive, especially being at 6'8". Maybe he could be like a power forward, something at the power forward position. You can hide him potentially on the offensive end, but defensively he can switch on other people, doing something like that. And maybe hopefully offense comes eventually. We'll see. And the last pick of the first round at 30, Boston Celtics select Colin Murray-Boyles from South Carolina, 6'7", 231-pound. Power forward, 18 years old. So scouts are still catching up on Colin Murray-Boyles' midseason spike in production. His game is somewhat older school, but it's been highly effective with his 231-pound frame, excellent hands, instincts, and foot speed that can continue translating into 2-point scoring, play finishing, putbacks, and defense in space. He's been a box plus-minus star, ranking second among freshmen behind projected lottery pick Reed Sheppard. Yeah, Colin Murray-Boyles, he's a dude. He's a very interesting prospect. Watching him again. He was another dude that kind of didn't really come on until recently, but watching him and some of his highlights, he's a very interesting player. He's very interesting in a sense of he's got an interesting game. He's smaller. He plays bigger. He plays bigger than what he is. He's only 6'7". But he plays like he's 6'10", 6'11". But he has a bigger body, big as well. And yeah, he does a lot of different things. He can play in the post and have spin moves and stuff and score down low. He can put backs and stuff. He's got good hands, makes good passes, is a lot more athletic and faster than what you would think he is. And the thing that really I like about it is he can hold his own on the defensive end, especially on the perimeter. There's a couple times I watched where they tried to get the switch on him, and they got the switch, but he held his own, and forced a tough shot, tough mid-range, or, got back and whatever. So he's a dude that It's going to be very intriguing to see how he can fit and what role he'll fit in the NBA. But I also am a lot more confident that he can fit into a role because he also plays with a lot of energy, you know, a lot of toughness and stuff like that. So I feel like he can find a role, and I like him going to a team like Boston, or maybe even going to a younger team, like if a team like the Jazz pick him up. You know, like I feel like he's a very interesting prospect. A prospect I like a lot watching because it's a very unique game. I was watching him, just like wow, like he's got a very unique game, but I like it a lot. I like it a whole lot because he plays with energy, he plays with heart. Good. I mean, he does a lot of things good on the court, despite being very interesting size and playing in an interesting position, especially on a good South Carolina team. So we're going to see him in March Madness, and you're going to see, like, dang, this dude actually is, you know, like a pretty good player. Yeah, that's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications to all stuff like that. I really appreciate it. Really upset a lot. Once again, link to my Twitter description down below. We're going to be doing a lot more college videos, especially with March Madness coming up soon. We're going to be talking about March Madness and stuff a lot more. And then mock drafts and stuff like that are going to come out eventually. But this is just a start to, you know, my college stuff, you know, because it's everyday hoops. You're not just about NBA here. But yeah, and yeah, that'll be it for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow.